Hello, everyone. This is David E2. I have come across something that I think is being overlooked. Uh, the billionaires have got together and started an organization. It's called the Rockbridge Network. The first meeting was supposedly in Rockbridge, Ohio, and there is a very small town. That's why they probably held it there, so no one would see it. It's become a coalition to push forward the MAGA movement. An overview of what this movement is it's since 2019, a coalition of conservative billionaires and operatives has quietly built a durable infrastructure to extend MAGA movement beyond Donald Trump. This effort, centered around the Rockbridge Network, reflects strategic pivot from personality-driven politics to institutional control, backed by figures like Peter Thiel, Rebecca Mercer, and J.D. Vance. The network is reshaping the Republican Party electoral strategy and governance norm. The origins of key players. The 2019 Rockbridge Summit, held in Rockbridge, Ohio, hosted by Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance. Attendees included Rebecca Mercer with Mercer Family Foundation, Tucker Carlson, a member of Fox News and now independent media, Orrin Cass, America Compass is what it is, Chris Beskirk, editor of American Greatness, the Rockbridge Network, a covert political infrastructure aimed at building MAGA-aligned institutions, data operations, and candidate pipelines. The strategic figures inside this organization, Peter Thiel, tech billionaire funder, Palantir, and Founders Fund. J.D. Vance, U.S. Senator, MAGA successor, Vice President, co-founder of Rockbridge. Rebecca Mercer, major donor, Mercer Family Foundation. Chris Buskirk, network architect, American Greatness, Rockbridge. Omad Malik, VC partner, 1789 Capital. Donald Trump Jr., partner, 1789 Capital, second organization. I'll go into that later. Infrastructure and organization. Rockbridge Network operates without public-facing websites, so they try to keep it quiet. Builds voters database from non-political sources. Examples: church, outdoor clubs, and other organizations. Funds, polling, advertising, and candidate grooming. That's what they also do. The 1789 Capital is VC firm promoting patriotic capitalism, investment MAGA alignment, businesses, and media. Trump Jr. is a partner. Executive Branch Club, 500,000 membership fee, connects MAGA donors with Washington insiders, and facilitates influences over policy and appointments. The 1789 Club, or Capital, 1789 Capital. If you notice, it's here's the team. Ahmed Malik is the founder and president. Christopher Beskirk is the founder and CIO. Don Trump Jr. is the partner. Rebecca Mercer, founder. Paul, I'm not going to attempt to say that name, partner. Joe Barbarella, partner. Jordan Cohen, partner and COO. And Andy Nasser, partner. That's the 1789 Capital. They're the investment group for this thing. Just a heads up of who they are. And let me stop sharing that one. Here is the list of the strategic figures inside of the Rockbridge Network. As you can see, Peter Thiel, tech billionaire funder. He's affiliated with Palantir and Founders Fund. J.D. Vance, he's the vice president now. And he's going to be the successor to Trump, as they're hoping. Rebecca Mercer, see here, major donor, Mercer Family Foundation. Chris Buskirk, network architect, American Greatness in Rockbridge. Ahmed Malik, VC partner of 1789 Capital, and Donald Trump Jr., 1789 Capital. That's a quick overview of who they are. We go to the political implications that it's going to cause. Party realignment. Its traditional GOP donors, example Koch network, is going to be sidelined. MAGA becomes institutionalized via elite funding from candidates' pipelines. They're going to JD Vance and other positioned as ideological heirs to take over and continue the MAGA movement. Electoral strategy is they're going to micro targeting voters using lifestyle data, focus on the 2026 midterm and the 2028 presidential election, emphasize on state level control and judicial appointment. It's going to govern shift towards rise of privatization influence networks, policies shaped by venture backed interest and decline of bipartisan norms, procedural transparency. That's what the ship's going to be, that they're trying to push. Advantages, strategic continuity, MAGA survives beyond Trump's presidency. Organizational sophistication, it builds the lasting infrastructure so they get the foundation there. Candidates grooming creates a bench of aligned leaders. So they're going to groom candidates to create this MAGA movement and continue it on further in the thing. That's what we need to stop. I'll give you further information in the end. And disadvantages, going to erode democracy. Unelected elites will be shaping the policies in elections. So the government's not going to be really doing the policies. They're going to be getting them from this elite group. Transparency and concerns, secretive operations, lack public oversight. So they're not going to have the transparency there. And that's going to be a major problem in the future. Polarization deepens, ideological divides, undermines cooperative. They are trying to divide the nation and keep this going. So they keep the divide there. We cannot combine together as a group to show that we have the power. That's going to be, I'll go into that later, and that's what we need to look at for the future. Future outlook, the movement signals a shift from populist insurgency to elite-driven permanence. While MAGA retains its anti-established rhetoric, its future is increasingly shaped by billionaires and venture capitalists. The implication of voting rights, party dynamics, and democratic norms are profound, especially as the network expands into media, education, state-level governance. They are using statistic farms. They're hiring these people they're bringing the people on for statistics, finding out how they can do these micro advertisements for people. And they're going to push this narrative and try to keep us divided as a nation. The ways to beat this, and my sources for this actually are the Yahoo News, Inside Billionaire Network Shaping. And that's, I forget which ad that is, but you can find that on Network News. You can also go to my Substack, and I'll have the links for the link tree and a bullet point of this on my Substack. It'll also give you the references so you can go further in detail. Now, further sources: Washington Post, MAGA's post-Trump strategy, The Raw Story, Billionaires Plot, MAGA's Future. Fourth is Times of India, MAGA Speculation and Solidarity Support, Democratic Underground, MAGA Organized and Funding. That's basically what this Rockbridge Network is. If you want to see the background, there's the background for you. But this is eroding our democracy, eroding our rights. They are pushing to continue this further, to take and eliminate the power of the checks and balances from the Senate, House, and the judicial branches, and creating a power in the executive office only. The way to stop this is we need to speak out now and tell them we're not gonna allow this. Be loud, be proud, pump up the volume, period. You need to band together now. There's a movement on the 11th. If you want to join, I'll probably have a video of this later. But yeah, do not allow this to continue, because if we allow it to continue, the people will have no more power, and our country will be run by the elites. This is what people don't understand is they say we have a democracy. They say we're having the political power. We're still having people in office. So we're still a democracy in their opinion, or some people call it a constitutional republic. But if you study what the different things are, a constitutional republic is a part of a democracy, a different form of it. We have a constitution that is basis of the laws of the land that is governed by a representative body voted in by the people. We vote the people in to represent us in Congress to dictate how we want to go. Is there a way to defeat this movement? Call it, bring it out to light, make it known that it's out there and what they're trying to pull. That will start to kill their momentum. They do best in the dark of the night. We got to bring it to light. If we put them in the light, they are just like cockroaches and they'll run and hide. Bring it to light, pass this around, make sure everybody gets out and knows about the Rockbridge Network, knows about the 1789. I am going to do more in depth on 1789 and further and possibly in the podcast. I will also go into J.D. Vance and the Acre Trader. And as I've been researching, in October of 2024, Snopes stated that they could not find any evidence that J.D. Vance is still part of Acre Trader, but the way he was part of the Acre Trader was through an investment company that invested his money into Acre Trader. They could not find any further ties besides that, so he may or may not still be part of it. And what they do is they're buying up the farmlands. You have the issue you have is you have the billionaires that are trying to write policy, which means they're going to write policies to favor them. This is what we need to stop. They are buying up stuff and they're being the billionaires, and they have foreign money in there that we need to draw attention to. 1789 has a facility in Korea, Seoul, Korea. So it's foreign also. We need to draw attention to this. We need to start pointing out where this money is coming from. That's the reason they want these super PACs that can get the money secretively and pass it on. If we can get the government to remove super PACs as a viable candidate donations, then we might be able to fight that per se. We need to roll back the clock of the laws, not of us, of some of the laws. We need to bring back the fairness doctrine so that every news agency has to say the plus and the positive and negative of what they're saying. We need to amend the speech and debates clause to say that no out and out lie is allowed. Bending the truth, okay. Out and out lying, no. Also, we need to put in place that in Congress, in the House and Senate, what is said on the floor shall not be a lie. It shall have to have evidence proving if it's right or wrong. Until we get that, these people can persuade the rights of what we want. We need to start pushing for this stuff, such as do away with super PACs, do away with Citizens United, put back in place the fairness doctrine, limit the donations to the politicians, and limit how much they can spend on a political push for candidates. I also believe that the money should be stated instead of you win the campaign and whatever's left. I'm not sure what happens to it, but I understand some people say the person gets it. I think that should be rewritten. If they have any money left over, it should either have to go into the coffers for the political party they're affiliated with or go into the coffers for the United States government. That's number one. We need to stop this. We need to draw attention to these different pieces. I hope you can join together and follow what's going on as far as the movements throughout the next couple of weeks and throughout possibly the next year, and push to change what is happening. This is no longer MAGA versus Democrats. This is no longer owning lives. This is no longer red versus blue. This is what is right and wrong. What is right for the people and what is wrong for the people. What is right for the capitals, companies, and all that. If that's what you want to be right, then continue going the way we are. But if you want for the people and make sure the people are taken care of, then you want to do away with it. You need to ask yourself at this point going forward, do you support the people or do you support the company? That's the important part. Get to your decision and decide what you want to do. I can only recommend that you can do what you think is best and what you think is best for your future. And I would add not only your future, but your children's future. This last election, not the last election because that was yesterday or 2 days ago, the election in 2024 showed us that people were not looking at the policies, at the candidates and what they stood for. They were looking at a female candidate and a male candidate. an older man, and went with status. We could say they went with status quo. We could say it was misogyny. We could say whatever it is. Truth of the matter is, 1/3 of the people did not vote. So 1/3 did not vote. About a third voted for Kamala Harris and about a third voted for Donald Trump. That's our problem. We don't have enough people turning out. And say that the political party is moving forward and the reason that Trump won is because of gerrymandering. That is a false narrative. Statewide elections do not involve gerrymandering. That's based upon the state. Possibly, but depending on how they do the counting, it could come into effect if they count it per certain districts. But that's neither here nor there. I think we should also push to do away with the Electoral College and find a better way. We have the means to do this in a way that can further elections without people leaving the house. It would improve the voter turnout. If we allowed people to vote from home, it would improve turnout. We wouldn't have to have people at the polls. We wouldn't have to have polls. The way to do it is think about this. Think about your systems that are set up that high security. You have key codes. You have the authentications in your phones. Those can all be used to ensure that the person putting the vote in is the person doing the voting. At school, when I was going to school and we did at-home testing, we would have to do the testing where they could see our screen, and they also had a video of us so they could see that we were the ones actually at the computer. Those are ways that we can secure the election, and then you don't have to worry about mail-in ballots. You don't have to worry about well, you still kind of have to worry about voter fraud. But think about if they did that. If you had to turn on your camera to do a vote, you had to punch in an authentication code, how that would help the vote. Let's push for this stuff. You can determine which way you want to go here or there. Think what you think best. Write your politicians and tell them you do not like if you believe this, you do not want this to go this way. You want to end this. You want to go back to the government supporting the people and not politicians. I'm going to go further into detail on some of the things about the people in another thing, but hopefully I can get more people into my podcast and my live that I will probably start up so that we can get more information. I would love to have lawyers and stuff come in and do some inputs on it. So thank you for your time. Like, share, follow, do whatever you want to do. Subscribe. You can donate on my link tree, but you can find further information on this on my Substack. It is a bullet point style article. You can take that and look at the bottom. It has the sources that you can go to, search out what all the sources say. But we need to, at this point forward, pump up the volume. Remember, you are loved no matter what you do. Thank you for your time again. See you around. Bye.